All right, sports fans, tonight we're doing something kind of fun. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do an unpacking of a static model of a Sturmtiger or whatever it's called. And we're going to be drinking Diet Mountain Dew, both of us, while we're going to be doing this. So cheers. So I'm going to do some unboxing, and this is a static model. It's a metal proud. This is the first metal proud by the Watersons I've got, so we'll see what the quality is on this. The packaging on this is really cool, by the way. So let's unpack this without further ado. And Adam, why don't you go through maybe some of the developmental stages of the Sturmtiger as we unpack it.
Yeah, so the Sturmtiger really starts conception with the Battle of Stalingrad. The Germans took a big loss in the Battle of Stalingrad because they were well equipped for some more rural fighting, but urban fighting seemed to be their Achilles heel. And Stalingrad really showed that for them. During that battle, they took a lot of losses. And so Hitler and the Germans decided that they needed a more urban equipped tank.
Now, what does urban equipped tank mean?
Yeah, so it means that they were able to move in more urban environments, but also be able to destroy buildings and have tanks that were more equipped for destroying buildings. So
more city.
Yes, city
means urban. So
yes.
Rural versus urban.
Yeah. So city versus country.
Okay.
And so the first tank that they had that was a little bit more urban equipped actually was in the Battle of Stalingrad. It was an altered Stug 3. Now we don't have a Stug 3 in 32nd scale, but we do have a Stug 4. So here's a little bit of an example of what that looks like here.
Hold on. I got a Stug 3 and an 8 and a 16th scale. Stug 3. Big Stug 3.
There's a little bit of an example of what a Stug 3 looks like in the higher scale there. So this is the Stug 3. They altered the Stug 3 with a different casement for the more urban environment. They would then move on to a different chassis for the next development cycle.
Okay, so anyway, that's the 16th scale. The Stug 4 was the 32nd scale, so we'll go back to 32nd scale, but that's a Stug 3.
Next, they used a Panzer 4 as the base. Here's a Panzer 4 in the 32nd scale. They'll use its footprint and basic structure to build what's called a broom bar by the Allies. It would have a different gun than the Panzer, a little bit different and a little bit more like what you're going to see out of the Sturmtiger as far as body style. But it still was insufficient, at least as deemed by the Fuhrer. So the Fuhrer would then go on to take a Tiger with all of its improved armor and alter it.
Tigers are very hefty tanks.
Yes, Tigers are very heavy tanks. It's we were just looking this up. A Tiger is about 57 tons, and they would take one of these and they would alter it to be a Sturmtiger.
I'm not being very graceful trying to take this out of here, but that's okay. So far, it looks like it's pretty awesome. It looks like a pretty good model. So let's we'll keep doing our unpacking as we hear this excellent history from Adam.
So there were only 18 Sturmtigers ever made. They wouldn't show up till the end of the war, and I think only 3 battles were they actually engaged in. They would make an appearance at the Battle of the Bulge. And there's only one recorded alleged contact of tank versus tank with the Sturmtiger. It was originally supposed to take out a bridge, and they found out that it was too inaccurate to hit the bridge, but the German tank commander in the Sturmtiger saw some Shermans stationary, just chilling, and so he thought he'd take a shot at him. He was able to destroy multiple Shermans with one shot from the Sturmtiger. What was interesting about the barrel of the Sturmtiger is they originally wanted 120 centimeter or 120 millimeter or a 12 centimeter howitzer, but the howitzers happened to not be, they weren't available when the Sturmtiger was finally being made, and so they took what would be a depth charge launcher from a naval base, which happened to be this 380 millimeter or 38 centimeter mortar launcher, and that would be what they would mount on this Tiger to make the Sturmtiger. Now, another interesting thing about those missiles that it would fire, those rockets, is in order to load this tank, this Sturmtiger, they had to use all 5 crew members to load the tank. They could only fit 14, and that was including the one in the barrel and the one in the loading rig. Oh, it looks like we're gonna actually have some of those right here. They had to have a crane that they mounted on the back of this in order to load those shells in because they were so heavy.
Like we were talking the other day about the destructive power of these weapons of war. Just reading some of the personal journals and the horrific atrocities that had happened just in the war. But as a mechanical engineer, I can't help think these things are really cool. The history of all these tanks and how they started out are really cool. So what I want to do is in upcoming episodes on these static tanks, you know, we've had a lot on the remote control side, but we're going to come up with some history lessons, which might be boring, might not get a lot of viewers out of them, but I think it's interesting enough that we're going to take some time and effort and try to bring you some quality development of some of these tanks and how they came about. And so I think first in the series is the Sturmtiger, just because I had it here to unbox tonight, and you know, we'll pick out some other fun ones and start doing those. Maybe work them into these along with our RC tanks. What do you think, Adam?
Sounds good.
First time ever on Grandpa's Hobby Garage, the inside of a Sturmtiger. And this is how the thing would look. Now, isn't this a cool model, guys? Seriously. You come up with this thing, and this is the first time in history, Grandpa's Hobby Garage, where we could take apart a 70-second or a 30-second scale tank. And this is this Motorworks stuff. It's pretty good. It's high quality. This is heavy. And look, you get up in here and you can see the inside of what a Sturmtiger looked like. Here's the motor back there. It's how many horsepower? What size engine?
I don't remember.
It's a Maybach engine, running around 600 horsepower. Look, it has dual quads on it, man. If you're from the 60s, you know what dual quads are. I'm from the 60s, unfortunately. That's why they call me Grandpa. But we got these fun little, it will hold up to 14 of these rockets that will shoot 5 kilometers. And they got 124 kilometer head on them. And they caused a lot of damage when they hit. There's some places that said that if they do airburst, they can kill a lot of, what do they call it, non-human, large human groups. So they put this freaking missile to detonate above the group, and if it's on a battlefield, it would take out a 500-meter diameter circle if it was exploded at 100 meters up. Now that's just stupid nasty. They just like to kill people. Anyway, so there's what it looks like inside. And now, I would imagine when they built these things off this Tiger chassis here, here's the Tiger. This is the same chassis, and you can see that comparing the size, the tracks, everything is exactly the same. So this is a Tiger tank. It weighs a lot more than a regular Tiger. Well, a little bit more than a regular Tiger. About 10 tons more.
Yeah.
It weighs nearly the same as a King Tiger, which is about 67 tons. The Tigers are 57 tons. These came in, I think, at 64 tons. So they're heavy suckers, and pretty fun. This is a fun model, and I think it's really interesting doing the studying of these tanks on how much damage they do. So,
a couple of the things we didn't show last night, do you have the free missile? Was to show the scale here. This is a scale person, and here is our scale missile. So it goes almost up to shoulder height here. That's how large this missile was.
A 124 kilo explosion, or explosive in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's and they said these things weighed over 200 kilos, about 230 kilos, which is over 600 pounds, or 700 pounds. That's why they had to put a crane on there. But the detonator charge in there was 124 kilos. So that's a lot of boom.
Some other things that we found as we were constructing some of these add-on features here is we've got these side skirts. Those weren't there when we were looking at it last night. And here is the crane here. This is how they loaded it in. I mentioned that it took a crane and them using all 5 people. Well, there's the crane they have installed there. They would open it up. They've got this little flap here, and this whole thing comes out so that they could fit one of those missiles inside there. I mean, that's how they load it up. And then they go in on these shelves here, as you can see, and they were so heavy that they load them onto this reel here. That reel would slide, and then that's how they'd load it into the gun. It was too heavy to just pick up and move.
Yeah, but pretty interesting. They'd breech load them just like they do an old cannon and shoot them off. And
they even have that here. We don't have the breech load cover there, but here's the opening to the cannon.
Anyway, this is really interesting. I've learned more about this one particular tank, and in addition to all the other tanks, because a lot of the tanks, like these are just cousins of the Tiger tank. So a lot of stuff we found out about this tank is applicable to the Tiger tank. So I think this is a really interesting model to get and to take apart and to actually build. There's the motor right there.
In just a brief Googling, I learned this is a Maybach V12 engine.
Yeah. I think it's 20 liters, and it had put out about 600 horsepower. So, and like we said last night, they only built 18 of these, all on refurbished tank chassis. And I think with the destructive power, we're lucky they only build 18 of these suckers, to tell you the truth. So anyway, but this would be the same layout as a Tiger tank or any of these rear engine, front wheel drive German tanks, which most of them were. They have the engine in the rear, the transmission, and the driver's seat up in the front. And I don't know if you can see that little driver's seat up there. It's really cool. It's got a little steering wheel. Last time I touched a steering wheel, it broke off, but there's a steering wheel right there. Here's your hydraulics to steer the tanks, and when they turn the wheel, it would put a brake on one of the tracks and actually cause it to turn. So they just drive it like a regular car.
Another thing we learned as we were looking it up afterwards is this Metal Proud. We thought that was a brand. It's actually just a specific subsect of the Forces of Valor. So this is still a Forces of Valor model. But whether they kind of rebranded some of their stuff after somebody purchased them or not, we don't know. But it's Forces of Valor. It's got a Forces of Valor tag on the bottom, but metal proud. This is specifically an inside out Sturmtiger.
And I think this is the only one that the top came off like this. There's some that can pull the engines out that have, anyway, you'll just have to look up yourself. But this is, as far as we can tell, this is the only one that comes apart like this. So, well, we're going to try to get it back together without totally destroying the son of a gun. It took a little bit to get it off. I'm sure it's going to take a little bit to get it back on, and we're going to screw it together and put it back on Grandpa's Hobby Garage shelf in our 32nd scale static series. So we have the static series. We're going to do airplanes and tanks in the 32nd scale. And then we're also going to continue to do the radio-controlled 16th scale tanks. We've still got a lot of those to do too. So, all right. Well, anything else, Adam?
Nope.
All right. Well, subscribe, damn it. Bye.